Hi everyone, I'm Lakshmi Ratnam. I'm an interventional radiologist at St George's Hospital in London, and I'm the SBC chair for this year's BSIR 2020 ASM. I've also got with me today Ian McCafferty, president of BSIR, and Phil Haslam, who's the vice president of BSIR. Ian and Phil, as we've just kicked off BSIR 2020 ASM, Ian, would you start first and let everybody know what you think are some of the highlights of the programme?
So we had a fantastic meeting arranged for a face-to-face meeting, and then obviously in March had the COVID pandemic and then had to change to a virtual ASM at relatively short notice. And I think it's a wonderful thing that the SPC's managed to arrange such a fantastic meeting. I think it's got a nice balance to it with both vascular and non-vascular interventional oncology subjects. I know we've engaged with our special interest groups, the paediatric interventionalists, the interventional oncologists, and the renal access teams to produce some fantastic webinars within the meeting itself. From a personal perspective, I'm really looking forward to the lymphatic session, which actually is going to be following on this afternoon. We really have 3 of the world leaders giving the talks, and I think that will be a really, really good session.
Thank you, Ian. Phil, as you know, obviously, usually when we have a physical ASM, industry are a huge part of it, and they support us throughout the year and in everything we do. Can you just talk us through some of what we've put in place with the virtual meeting to work together with our industry partners?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for asking that, Lakshmi. It is obviously it's really different this year, isn't it? There's no exhibition that we can go and walk around, and that's something I think most people really miss, because not only is it sociable, you get to meet all the reps, you have a chat with them, you see all the latest equipment they've got, you see how it works, you actually get your hands on it, and that's really good. And our relationship with industry is completely symbiotic, really. And we need industry to do what we do. They need us to help sell the products, of course, and people to use the products, but we learn from them and as much as they learn from us. Now, we've managed to do that, and you've managed to do that within the programme, along with Ruth Moss brilliantly, actually, because between each session we've got some adverts sort of slotted in between, where some of the companies are showing some of their products and some short videos. And of course we've got the industry sponsored sessions as well, which they're not adverts as such, they're real educational sessions. They're really good webinars that we can use in the future and for years to come, I hope. And I think that's a really good way that industry have supported us. And obviously without industry support, we're not able to run meetings such as this. It's financially just not viable. So it's absolutely crucial that we can do that, and we learn from industry and they learn from us.
Brilliant. Thanks, Phil. So obviously the reason we are in this situation with the virtual meeting is because of COVID. That's affected all of us. Ian, do you think you can just talk us a little bit through how COVID's affected IR and how IR has risen to the challenge?
Yeah, I mean, I think as everyone knows, it's been a horrendous year to the start of the year, and actually it's still going. We're now in our second lockdown during this ASM, and initially we are a special interest group of the Royal College of Radiologists, who are basically our training body, and we managed through a bit of lobbying to get access to the Royal College, and actually with the Royal College we started to develop some guidelines for helping individuals with PPE, and also restarting services, talking about consent issues, and also outpatients through telephone clinics. And I think our relationship with the Royal College of Radiologists has actually got better and better and stronger through this whole pandemic, to the point where now I think we've probably got the best relationship I've known with them, and that's helping us sort of push our own agendas with trying to get towards a specialty status in piecemeal approach. In terms of IR, certainly those centres that had day case beds managed to continue their activities. In actual fact, probably changed some of their overnight activities to become day case. They started to use more sedation rather than general anaesthetics, which are tools of, basically are tools of our trade that we can do. And I think a lot of the surgery also stopped. So, endoscopy stopped. So we were doing more cholecystotomies. Surgery stopped. So we're doing more gastrostomies, more interventions that we probably wouldn't have done if all of the other activities had been live. So I think we have helped maintain activities in the hospital more than any other group. We've moved to do some of the vascular intervention as sort of almost walk-in, walk-outs with using closure devices and different tips and tricks really that we know ourselves. Another classic example is people have moved over to maybe using more radial approach than they used to do, because they can get patients ambient and out of hospital much quicker. Whereas, people like myself and Phil are very much ephemeral access guys because we're quite old, but we've moved even towards it because it's actually made it better and easier to get patients out. I think centres that have not had access to day case units or day case beds on a regular basis haven't done so well, and I think that's a shame. And I think moving forward, I think this is a good reason to look at all interventional units having day case units, and we have to think about maybe having day case units in cold centres, maybe like diagnostic treatment hubs or other different ways of doing things. And I think that's something we should look at moving forward.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. Phil, so looking to the future, where do you think we'll be as BSIR in 2021?
Well, we're going to be in Glasgow this time next year, I sincerely hope. And we're going to be having a brilliant face-to-face meeting with some of the things that we've had to put off from this year. And Ian, of course, is still going to be president at that point. So that's going to be your final fling, Ian. And I think it's going to be good. And I think by this time next year, we're going to be back there. I think the vaccine's going to be out, and COVID hopefully will be a thing of the dim and distant past and will stay that way.